Greetings. We have the privilege today of sowing an offering to our Father love in this holy day. And of course we're sowing in faith and in love for a new world where there is hope, where there is joy. Well, while around us we see a world that's tottering on the brink of nuclear war as it was in the 1960s with the Bay of, whatever the incident there was, the incident in 1961 basically. We know that North Korea is menacing the world. But we don't have to feel menaced. We can be at peace and joy with no fear whatsoever. Our apostle told us yesterday that giving begrudgingly does not allow to see a multiplication of the offering. We see in Exodus 35, it shows a people whose hearts were willing and full of joy to give offerings for the tabernacle. And God says He loves a cheerful giver. It's not the amount that matters, but the heart in which we give it. The Israelites gave so joyously and so abundantly that Moses had to stop them and say, that's enough. Hey, don't bring any more. Already we're seeing a tremendous growth and a tremendous blessing. There's more than enough to do the work. We were joyously keeping God's feast days when the world was on alert for a possible nuclear World War III a few days ago, a time comparable to the Cuban Missile Crisis in the 1960s, but even worse and more dangerous. But look what our prayers do at the time, a time when our apostle told us yesterday that we are very near the time of the famine of the word in Amos, when it says, in John, where Jesus says, the night comes when no man can work by preaching God's word. People often say, put your money where your mouth is. And we do need to do more than simply pray. However, we put our generous, joyous offering in this basket today so our God can multiply the money and the time we have left to do the work of God. God is with us to put our offerings where our prayers are. We prayed for Mr. Trump as God calls us to do, for our leaders, and we're seeing results in spite of the fact that some of his base are not happy with him, and he is not pleasing everyone, and he's not perfect. However, we know that God has chosen him, and we do pray and continue to thank God for blessing him. We also need to finance the work, especially since our offering has many promises of empowerment for us. Meetings with heads of state are planned months in advance. Meetings like that don't just happen. It didn't just happen. I believe it's a God thing that the Chinese Communist leader was with Mr. Trump when he decided to bomb the airfield from which came the chemical attack on children. Mr. Trump negotiated for his top priority at that time, which is to Isaiah 45 as the Cyrus to come to loose the loins of a crazy king in North Korea. Now, loins were covered, usually for a person going into battle at the time, you would cover your loins with a belt and you'd put your sword in it. In Isaiah 45, which Lance Wallnow explained a few days ago, Isaiah 45 says Trump will loose the loins of kings and subdue nations. No, he didn't campaign to do it, but God led him to subdue North Korea and Syria to show that he means business. The Dead Sea Scrolls say in this verse in Isaiah 45 that Cyrus will make the crooked mountains smooth. And Mr. Trump is making smooth a rogue government. Isaiah 44:25 says God will cause the omens or curses of the boasters to fail, making fools out of diviners. Witches have cursed Trump in a big way, and we know that God is with him to reject those curses. And it says, confirming the word of his servant. And even though many oppose Mr. Trump, it's exactly because God has chosen him, imperfect Mr. Trump, to lead America at this time. While the world worries, God answers our prayers and gives us, our president, an amazing victory. You won't hear it on the major news networks, but it was a major victory. Even though the world is still on alert, God has given amazing favor and wisdom to President Trump. He received favor from a communist dictator in China who saw firsthand that President Trump was not the weak leader who had led America for 8 years. He knew this man meant business. His cooperation caused the situation to be controlled, and God is ultimately in control. God will not allow his people to experience wrath. Not the wrath of Satan, which is the great tribulation soon coming upon the world, or the wrath of God. He will protect the faithful from the soon coming 3.5 years of great tribulation and the 390 days of the year of God's wrath. Jesus cannot come tonight. It's impossible. But the time is coming soon when his truth will no longer be available to this world before the new Elijah comes on the scene and angels must preach the gospel. More than ever, and especially in this joyous year of Purim, we need to be full of joy and thanks, especially in our offerings. So let's give with a joyful heart as we hear the song. This morning, Jerry asked me through my wife to call him for the name of the song again. And I thought, well, sometimes you say, well, this is Robert, I'm telling you this. And I said, Jesus, I come. I thought maybe he would think with my booming voice it was Jesus. But he said, no, he knew it was not Jesus. But Jesus is saying, I come. We come to him with an offering today, offering ourselves and our money to bless the work of God. And we also come in thanksgiving as we give this joyous, hilarious offering. We are hilarious givers who give with great joy, and we expect a tremendous blessing of multiplication of time and of money coming as we sow this offering seed and as we hear the song, Jesus, I come.